Hi
Yep.
there. My name is Michelle Neiswinder. I'm the project manager for the City of Topeka for the VanBuren Sanitary Interceptor Rehabilitation Replacement Project. The need for this project stemmed from a breach that developed in the brick pipe that rendered the line unsafe and required an emergency repair at the location of 5th and Van Buren. After further investigation of the entire line, the city determined that the most economical approach would be to act now with a rehabilitation project to address all of the integrity issues that were discovered. The purpose of this presentation is to provide the affected citizens and businesses with an overview of the more impactful construction activities, which includes an estimated timeline for these areas. There are two other presenters that are key members of the project team. They represent the engineering design firm and the general contractor. They are Andy Wright, project manager for Bartlett and West, and Tony Emerson, project manager for MCon Incorporated. And with that, I will turn it over to Andy to provide some further details.
Thanks, Michelle. As Michelle mentioned, this is a sanitary sewer interceptor rehab project. The interceptor's located between Van Buren and Jackson from Crane Street all the way to 7th, and then it jogs over to Jackson and extends down to 8th Street. That's kind of the extent of our project. So we're addressing manholes and pipeline. Most of the manholes are either being rehabilitated or, replaced or abandoned. There are a few rehabilitated manholes and a few brand new manholes. We're also rehabilitating the pipeline. We've got 731 feet of 24-inch VCP or vitrified clay pipe, just over 1,100 feet of 24-inch diameter brick sewer, and just over 3,100 feet of 36-inch brick sewer that'll be rehabilitated. We're going to get the project started here this month in May, and we've got just under a year to get it completed, so that takes us to April 2021. Obviously, that is if the weather is perfect and we don't have any other delays, so those are anticipated dates. As Michelle mentioned, this project is basically to renew the interceptor and the manholes and get them up to current design, and it's because of some breaches and failures in the past and just trying to prolong the asset. As you can see, these red and yellow or red and green and white dots represent manholes. This legend kind of tells you, and if you're on the website, you can go in the upper right hand corner and the legend will appear. But the white manholes are being abandoned. The green ones are brand new structures. The blue dots represent a manhole rehab. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. The red is a full open cut replacement, and then there is one black manhole that has no action because it was just recently replaced. With that, we're going to get into a little bit more detail on the different project locations, and I'm going to hand it over to Tony.
Okay. Good morning, Andy and Michelle. So the first spot that we'll be doing a lot is, as you can see in this, right at Crane, between Jackson and Van Buren, and that work will take a couple months. We're putting several large structures in there at that location. And Andy, do you want me to walk through each of these places? Is that?
Yeah, I think just briefly that'll work.
Okay. One thing to bear in mind with all these dates that you'll see on here is that there are several other large projects happening in the downtown area. So we never want to get in a situation, the city does not want to get in a situation where both Crane Street and First Street, for instance, are closed at the same time, just for the convenience of the public and the businesses. So with that being said, there's another contract going to be down by the Hills plant on Crane to the east. And if that has Crane Street shut down or First Street shut down, we'll work with them so that everything isn't shut down at one time in that area. The other thing, especially with this location, we are close to the river levee, and depending on the river stage, the Corps of Engineers has certain requirements of when we can and cannot excavate in this area. So it is quite possible if we get a year like last year was, where we get torrential rains in June and July, it's very possible we'll wait to do this till maybe one of the last parts of the project. So just something to bear in mind, that these are anticipated start dates on all these, but subject to change based on the needs of the project and the traveling public. In First Street again, just there's a manhole we abandoned, and then one we replaced there, I believe. And Andy, can I click through these? Is that, or do you have to do that?
Right now I have to do it. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Same thing. This is Second Street. We're going to be replacing 2 manholes under here.
Yeah, I guess want to make sure everybody's clear. We're working under I-70, not in I-70 there. But.
Yeah, no closure of I-70 is anticipated. Now here at 3rd Street, there's a water line that will get routed around the existing manhole and a new manhole installed there. This is a site that will probably take about a month total, just because of the timeline of the water work as well. Now here at 7th Street, we are looking at possibly starting this work very soon to take advantage of some of the business closures for the COVID-19 pandemic. What we anticipate doing is later this month, as soon as we can get our first structure on site, is starting the work. You'll see here on the screen, manhole 16333. Be working in there, and possibly 16334. Again, our Michelle at the city had a great idea. If we can go in and get these done ahead of schedule while these businesses are shut down anyway, that would be great, lessen the impact later on. So that is what we are going to try to do. Again, the structures are going to be hopefully available here in about 3 weeks, at which point we hope to start that. We may start, there's some investigation work to do around manhole between 16332 and 333. That's something we might go in as early as next week or the following week to see what needs to be done in there ahead of getting the structures. And then, as you'll see, sorry, Andy, then to the west there, you'll see that there's a manhole 16318, as well as a water line relocation around that one. And again, one thing we don't want to do, we need to maintain access to the parking garage there, so we will not have that intersection of 7th and Jackson closed. At the same time, we have that alley closed to allow people to access that garage from either the east or the west.
Yeah, that's probably a good segue, Tony, just to talk about alley closures. We've got several manholes that are replaced in alleys, and just how those will work for business owners or property owners.
Sure, absolutely. While we are doing, and later on, you'll actually see a couple pictures of what the excavation is going to somewhat look like. While we're doing those, we will have the alley closed to through traffic. Unless we're working right in back of your business, there should never be a time when you can't actually get in or out. But during the duration of our work in the middle of the alley, we will have it closed, so you won't be able to drive all the way down the alley. And again, we'll work with individual businesses, any way we need to make sure we're not. We don't obviously close any business down while we're doing this. So we'll work, and we just got through doing a project down at First and VanBuren and First and there by Lindy Spring. So it went well, and all the businesses were really, really good to work with there. So we anticipate the same things on this project.
All right, so that's kind of a general overview of the street projects and the whole project. This is a website that'll be available, and there's some examples of the CIPP pipe rehab process. There's a video here, not going to play it right now, but if you're interested in it on the website, you can go take a look at that. Just a really interesting technology to reline a pipe with very little excavation, and usually almost none. And then continuing to click through the website, there's also a video on manhole rehabilitation, but again, a way to restore the life of a manhole structure without completely digging it up. We weren't able to do that on most of the manholes here just because we wanted to provide access for city staff to safely be able to maintain the system. And a lot of these older structures are really small diameter and make it hard to maintain the system. As Tony alluded to, these are a few pictures of a project that happened I guess a couple of years ago now at 5th and VanBuren. So this is kind of what the excavation and construction will look like on a lot of those manhole replacements. Again, backfilling and replacing pavement. I don't know if, Tony, there's anything you want to add on any of that, but.
The only thing I was going to add is that each site, as you saw in those previous pictures, on some of these, they're very encumbered by utilities. Some they're not. Some are deep. Some are shallow. So the individual duration of each site will vary greatly throughout the project. Some sites will be in and out in a couple of weeks, and with curing time for concrete, it might be 3 weeks. There's some that might take a month and a half. It all depends again on the particulars of the each site.
All right. With that, the last slide here is contact information for each of us. Tony at IMCON, Michelle, City of Topeka, and then Barlin West here. Michelle, anything you'd like to do to wrap up?
No, I think thank you all for your time putting this together. I hope it is informative for everyone out there. And I know all of us are anxious to get this started and completed. I think it'll be a huge benefit to the city of Topeka. So thank you all.
Thank you.